Hello and welcome to Out and About. I'm Diane Gonzalez. There's no doubt about it, Nebraskans are fascinated by weather, and we have our very own Weather Fest to help satisfy our curiosity. The 18th Annual Family Weather Fest and Central Plains Severe Weather Symposium is coming up April 7th at Innovation Campus, and I'm so pleased we have with us Dr. Ken Dewey. He is a climatologist and weather guy extraordinaire.
Well, thank you, and I'm excited to be here. This is the one event every year that's like Christmas for little kids. It's my Christmas morning when I walk onto the location and I see all these people starting to arrive to have a fun-filled and educational day learning about weather.
That's right. How did WeatherFest get started?
It started very simply when I was at my annual meeting of the American Meteorological Society in Orlando in 2002, and I saw what they were doing, that they had started a Weather Fest. And that Weatherfest travels with them each year to wherever their national meeting is. And I thought, I could do that. I would love to do that. So we moved to starting one here in Lincoln, Nebraska. And ever since we started, it has grown and gotten bigger and bigger. So big, in fact, that we had to move out of East Campus. We were in an office tower and move it to Nebraska Innovation Campus, their conference center. It became so big, and there's so much interest in weather and so many people that wanted to participate as exhibitors inside and outside. So it started with a seed, a thought of this is really neat. My professional organization does this. Just before our week-long meeting, they invite the community to come in for an afternoon weather fest in whatever city they're in, and it travels around the states. And I said, well, they're never going to be in Nebraska, so I'm going to have to start my own weather fest, and that's what we did.
How many people usually attend?
Well, it really went up last year to almost 3,000 people. We used to have it in Nebraska over on the East Campus, and it was in a place called Kellogg Center, or it was Hardin Hall, was renamed later on. It was a conference center. And we started it there, and our first year we tried it, we were actually up in Omaha at the Peter Kiewitz Center, and we thought we would have it in Omaha one year and Lincoln the next year. So we had it in Omaha, it was real successful. They shut down that conference center, so we brought it to Lincoln, and we've kept it here ever since. When it was in Hardin Hall, we'd have difficulty at the end of the day getting in about 1,000 to 1,500 people. Last year, we increased from 20 exhibits to 67 exhibits.
Wow.
And we increased in numbers from just over 1,000 to almost 3,000 people. But, and this is the exciting part, we only used the bottom part of the conference center. This year, I said, we've got a whole area upstairs we can use. So I've been throwing out an even wider net to have people come and exhibit and have activities. And I've expanded from the Lincoln TV weathercasters being there to actually including the Omaha weathercasters as well. So I have room to grow, room to expand. And other than sports, football, Nebraskans love their weather.
Why? Are we unusual in that we are so fascinated, or is it, I have my own reasons or my own theories on why Nebraskans are so fascinated, but is there a real scientific explanation?
Oh yes, there is. You've asked the right person. I just finished an article on the extremes of weather in Nebraska, and I'm just finished up a book for the Center for Great Plains Studies, and it talks about the whole Great Plains area, that it's a place where it never really is normal. And when you think about that, every day it's either warmer than normal or colder than normal. It's either wetter than normal or drier than normal. We never have the meteorologists on TV say, well, the weather the next 5 days is just going to be perfectly normal, no extreme changes. Well, Nebraska is part of the Great Plains, which has extremes, but they're in the middle. And the explanation is we don't own a climate. The Great Lakes has a climate, the mountains have a climate, there's a maritime climate on the coastal areas, there's a tropical climate to our south, there's a really cold climate up in Minnesota and Canada, but we don't own a climate. There's no reason for air to be here, so it just passes through Nebraska. So one day it can be cold and the next day really warm. And it was Mark Twain who actually said, if you don't like the weather in New England, just wait 5 minutes and it'll change. He actually hadn't come to Nebraska. This is the place where it changes rapidly. When I first came here decades ago, a meteorologist on TV said, well, we're in trouble. The temperature today was in the 70s across Nebraska, and there's that cold air poised up in Canada, and somebody left the gate open. And you know, there's nothing between the Canadian border but a few gates, and that cold air will flood down here tomorrow with a high in the teens and 20s. And that's the nature of where we are. Swings back and forth. And in the book, I'll show examples of where there was a 100-degree temperature range in western Nebraska back in 1989 in one day. And that was a day that I left downtown Lincoln and it was in the 70s. And when I got home, a colleague called and said, go out onto your porch and hang on. And I went, this is really strange. So I thought he was going to call me back in 5 minutes. A rolling cloud moved over the city of Lincoln. Temperatures instantly dropped into the 20s. So it went from 70s to 20s in just minutes. There was a freezing mist. Then it snowed like mad. And then the sky became crystal clear because the cold air won. The cold air just pushed all of that warm air that didn't belong here in January, just shoved it right out of the way, which is what makes severe weather also so common out here. It's this contrast. You can't have extreme cold to the north and extreme warm to the south and not have a battle zone, and we are right in the middle. So that's the scientific explanation. Why is it extreme here? Well, first of all, it is, yes. And why is it extreme? Because we're right in the middle. We're in the 50-yard line, using a football metaphor, of the game of weather, with both teams equally strong sometimes during the year, but usually the one team wins by spring and summer. It will be warm here, and then by winter, of course, the winter air wins. But we're in the battleground, and that's why it is so extreme. And it makes it extremely important that we have this Weather Fest not only be an interesting day with activities for little kids to grandparents, to have fun. There are all sorts of cool things we're going to demonstrate, but it's also subtly educating everybody to the extremes so that they can be better prepared to mitigate their losses, both to property and, of course, injury and loss of life in Nebraska. So that's why we became a Weather Ready Nation ambassador this year.
That's brand new, and we have the only Weather Fest that has that designation.
That is correct. Now, small communities throughout I shouldn't say small communities, but there are small examples of Weatherfests held throughout the country. Some of them are run by students, some of them run by the National Weather Service, but nothing of this magnitude. With the large number of exhibitors, the large number of activities during the day. And you said early on, there's actually two things going on at the same time. There's Weatherfest, and there's activities outside where they can go inside emergency management vehicles. They can see Lincoln Electric, who's there demonstrating safety of electricity. They actually start arcing electricity across wires and showing how dangerous it is. And it looks just like lightning, which is what I thought was pretty cool. And inside all these exhibits and exhibitors, there's federal, state, and local agencies in there as well, handing out brochures to the public that they can take home and share with their family. And then we have, as that starts winding down in the middle of the day, and it ends about 2 p.m., at noon we start up what's called the Severe Weather Symposium. Not everybody wants all of the noise and the excitement of all these activities. They want it to be a learning experience. So we open up the auditorium, fill it to capacity, and we bring in world-class experts to talk about severe weather safety, and then we end the day, and we did last year with the mayor of Lincoln there, welcoming everybody, because we train the storm spotters. Now, those are the people that are not getting paid. They're out there in the middle of the night surrounding the county to keep us safe and to let us know that really bad things are happening in the middle of the night that we can't see coming.
Right.
But I do something unique. Across the country, we train storm spotters all over the Midwest, all the way from the East Coast to the West Coast. I open it up to the public, and I invite them to come, even though they're not going to be a volunteer storm spotter. They can learn about it and be their family storm spotter, their community storm spotter in the neighborhood they live, their church, their school, whatever it is, their business. So that makes it very unique. And then every year, we have a few people that say, how could I become a storm spotter?
Right.
And then there's a little half-hour class at the end telling them these are the steps that you would need to go to, and we would welcome you to be a part of the Lancaster County Storm Spotter Network. So it's a whole day event with kind of like one thing starts the day, and that's with bringing the families and let them see all these activities and exhibits inside and out. And then we merge in the afternoon to, I am an educator, to the Severe Weather Symposium.
All right, it's all coming up. Weatherfest, Central Plains Severe Weather Symposium, April 7th at Innovation Campus. It's all free. I'm here with Dr. Ken Dewey, the famous Dr. Ken Dewey. Tell me, for a family who goes for the first time, what do you hope they come away with?
I hope they come away with the fact that weather can be frightening and it can be scary living here. They've chosen to live in Nebraska, so this is not Hawaii. Well, this is not San Diego. This is not Florida. So you've chosen to live here. why not let the kids come in and have fun? The Lincoln Children's Museum will be there. The State Museum will be there. We have students that will have all sorts of science activities and exhibits for the kids. It's not all about severe weather. It's about science in general, all surrounding it. We have all sorts of agencies there that will talk about the environment and environmental care, and we have the herpetology department is there, and they have all these little critters for people to look at. So what we tell them is, if you've never been, there will be so much for you to see. You might just have to come back again next year. We also are in an environment where we're fortunate that we have a vendor that has family-friendly prices, because we know little kids and families can get hungry. So we set up a cafeteria, and they can go over there and get some food or snacks as the day goes along. But I encourage them, if they think, oh, this is just going to be, a scary. No, it's not scary at all. It's fun to learn about weather, and then to learn through the various agencies that are there, how can you be better prepared to withstand and be prepared to withstand the extremes of weather that we experience. And then for those who have kids that are interested, and then they come into that as well. We have Sunday with a Scientist at the State Museum, and we have different things where kids love to come in as well and learn. They can go into the auditorium, it's very family friendly, and sit there and see incredible videos of storms and how we chase storms and predict storms, and a review of last year's severe weather. We had a small tornado on East Campus. There was a couple bad ones up in Bellevue. So again, that's family friendly, but it's not for the kids who want to play video games and they want fast-paced, hands-on. It's for the kids and the adults who say, I want to know more about why the weather is the way it is in Nebraska, and I'd like to meet some of these experts who are going to tell me, and they can raise their hand and ask questions about severe weather and what it's like to live here in Nebraska.
All right. Again, the annual Family Weather Fest Central Plains Severe Weather Symposium, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Saturday, April 7th at Innovation Campus. If you'd like to find out more, weatherfest.unl.edu. Dr. Dewey, will you be wearing that fabulous tornado tie?
It is a wonderful tie, and it's one of my ties that I love wearing because there is a tornado on it. As serious as severe weather is, and I've had a career where I've gone out and I've chased storms and I've photographed them, there's a human component. So I don't want to diminish how scary severe weather can be, but if you can look at my tie and say, hey, that looks kind of cool, then you can get into the mood of I'd like to learn more about it.
All right, thank you so much. And thank you for all you do to promote safety here in Lincoln and in our state. And when we come back, we'll have some more exciting events with Jeff Mall from our Convention and Visitors Bureau. And as we go to break, we're going to take a look at what's coming up at the Lancaster Event Center. Stay with us. Welcome back to Out and About. Today, Jeff Mall joins me, and we have another special guest, of course.
Yes.
Abe Link here,
Welcome,
our own
Abe
little
Link.
bobblehead here in the city. And Jeff, I want to congratulate you on making the front page of the newspaper, above the fold,
above
even,
the
with
fold.
your Abe Link,
Right.
the big one.
This was a fun deal.
You have the big Abe bobblehead, and we have our little one here.
And we did introduce each of them to one another. And
Yes, we did.
We have our 5-foot-tall Abraham Lincoln down at our Lincoln Visitors Center, and it has gone over so well on social media. People from across the country that have been coming through the capital city have stopped and had their picture taken with Abe. And a fun twist. We had some good things, and we had a chance, you and I, to sing happy birthday for his 209th birthday.
209th birthday.
Yeah.
He's looking pretty good, big or small.
Yes.
Yeah, so hashtag Abe LNK.
You know, he's nodding. He is approving everything
Yes,
we're
he
talking
is.
about.
Yes, he's going to continue to nod
I like
throughout
it.
the show.
like
So you're giving away some prizes, right?
We are actually. Monday is the last day of our contest, so it'll be March 3rd, or March 5th, excuse me. And we will be doing a lot of fun giveaways to area hotels and restaurants and shopping outlets. And yeah, it's just going to be a lot of fun. And he'll be with us for as long as we have him, and we're
Yes.
going to have him for a while.
I think this guy's going to last a while too.
Yeah,
We
you got to
kind
be
of
careful.
like having him around.
Do you know
So-
he made a mad dash to get down here for this tape?
Yes, he did. All the way from the 3rd floor.
Yeah, he's handled with care.
All right, so spring is here.
Yes.
So we're going to talk about ice.
Great.
The Rail Yard Ice Rink is closing March 11th. Do you think they would well, I guess they can't just put that ice up, all of a sudden. But
No.
it's, Rail Yard Ice Rink closes March 11th. But if you don't have enough of your ice skating, you can head to the John Breslow Ice Hockey Center on April 6th.
Yeah, they have a public skate night, 8 p.m. on April 6th. Great chance for the community to come out and take in the Breslow Ice Center. Beautiful ice facility just a little bit north and west of Pinnacle Bank Arena, and you can access it off of Sun Valley Boulevard and Line Drive. Great facility for the community.
If you were inspired by the Olympics, head out and give it a try.
I am curling.
And curling, they do have curling.
That's what I hear.
I know. Also, we want to tell you the Lincoln Stars are still on the ice. I think their final home, is it game or bout or match?
We'll call it a game.
Okay, the final home game is April 7th, so you've got some chance to enjoy Des Moines Buccaneers a couple nights with the Youngstown Phantoms. Buccaneers are back, and then they finish off with the Tri-City Storm.
A lot of
So-
rivalry games in there to end the season. The
Yeah.
Stars are actually turning things around, and I don't know if they're still in the playoff hunt or not, but they're playing some really good hockey.
And those are just regular season, so
Yep.
postseason to come. All right, something fun that happens, I think every year. I can't remember if it was here last year or not. Is European Motorcycle Night. It's the first Wednesdays from April through October down in the Haymarket, and this is really cool.
Yeah, the 8th Street Concourse is reserved for scooters, vintage 1979 and older, European and dual sports or SVEDs. Motorcycle exhibitors open to pedestrians for viewing. They take over that entire area on 8th Street.
It's really
It's a
fun.
spectacle and something to see.
That's right. All right, the Lincoln Choice Awards, the 6th annual Lincoln Choice Awards. 85 different business categories. It's a chance to hear some music, have some free food, and honor your favorite business.
Yep, celebrate their 6th year of recognizing the best of the best. This will take place at the Embassy Suites in downtown
And I
Lincoln.
hear you're a lock for Best Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Oh, yes. Nobody else stepped forward this year. No competing bureaus in Lincoln.
That's good. You're the best, Jeff. That's it.
Thanks.
All right, Star City Buddy Walk is coming up March 17th, and this is to spread positive awareness of Down syndrome in honor of the upcoming World Down Syndrome Day, which is March 21st.
That's right. This will take place at Gateway Mall, a great venue, a controlled venue weather-wise. So come rain or shine, the event will happen, and it's a great time. A lot of people getting out and celebrating, family members that have Down syndrome or people that they know, and so many of those kids and adults have touched people's lives. So this is a great way to honor them.
That's right. And you can also honor them by showing up at the State Spring Games for Special Olympics. This is when they do the basketball and the bowling.
Sun Valley Lanes, Parkway Lanes, Lincoln Northeast High School, and North Star High School. Thanks to each of those entities for participating in Special Olympics. Will warm the heart and warm the soul, that's for sure.
That's right. Bowling is big this month. We've got the Nebraska Women's State Bowling Tournament, consecutive weekends from March through like mid-April.
That's right. Team bowling will take place at Hollywood Bowl, and doubles and singles will take place at Parkway Lanes. Great opportunity to see some of the best female bowlers from across the state.
All right, it's time for the USBC Intercollegiate Team Championships. The top 16 women's and men's teams in the country are going to compete at Sun Valley Lanes.
That's right, and the finishers in both the top 4 men's and women's teams will qualify for a sectional tournament, earning berths in the ITC itself. And this is a lot of fun out at Sun Valley Lanes. Our friend John Lacido always puts on a great event.
And Nebraska bowling has pretty good history. 10 national championships.
It's a big deal.
Yeah, it is. It's fun to watch.
Yeah.
It is. I get tense watching because I'm so terrible. All right, we're going to go to Morrill Hall. You know, I kind of...
Right. I'm on pins and needles.
should have just stopped when I was
I
ahead.
know.
All right, let's go to Morrill Hall. There is a museum highlights tour if you want to catch all the iconic pieces in 45 minutes.
This will provide you a glimpse into some of the most iconic pieces showcased inside Morrill Hall in a 45-minute time window, as you talked about. Should be a lot of fun seeing what's a highlight at the museum.
And then a couple of their regular programs. Pop-in story time this month in April is going to feature plants, and this is aimed at ages 3 through 5. It's storytelling with the Lincoln City Libraries. And then they're going to talk about building bridges.
That
sounds
like
really
a good,
cool.
Yeah, building bridges will be a lot of fun this month's topic. Every 3 events, you get a chance to qualify to move up as a science investigator. So the more of these events that you attend, the opportunity for your child to become an official science investigator is a pretty neat honor and deal.
There's a lot of science also out at the Pioneers Park Nature Center, and they're having their annual spring festival coming up. March 31st is called Wild Adventures.
That's right. Great opportunity to enjoy nature up close. You will find games, crafts, special presentations, and much, much more.
All right, Jeff, I'm calling the next 3 items that we have our history segment because there's some fascinating stuff going on.
Yes.
The Science Cafe is going to be talking about Nebraska's Indian boarding school, which was in Genoa.
Right.
And I have actually been there and toured that, and it's very fascinating.
Yeah, the school itself left a lasting impression on families, and come learn about the personal and historic impact of Indian boarding schools, the Genoa Foundation, and efforts at ethnical digitizing of the indigenous historical materials. Nebraska History Museum really pulling out all the stops with this, and I know some folks from up in Genoa, and there's just a rich tradition and rich heritage up that way.
That's right, the Pawnees, that was their territory. They actually have a Pawnee Days celebration there in Genoa in September. My son-in-law's great uncle went to that school.
Wow.
Yeah.
You have some good history there. I like it.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. So if you want to learn more, and Genoa's not that far away.
No.
It's a cool day drive.
Yep.
To tour the grounds in the school there. So anyway, take advantage of that. More history, What We Carried, Lincoln, is a very interesting exhibit, and it features some of our new Lincolnites, the Yazidi community.
That's right, the Yazidis share an item when they brought with them on our journey from northern Iraq to the United States. They've been asked by Jim Lomason to pull all that material together. He's had a chance to take photographs of all of this and put it into a display at the Nebraska History Museum. And What We Carried, the story of the Yazidis as they made the trip to the United States.
It kind of helps you in some way understand the experience of refugees and what they go through.
Amazing.
So we're very happy to have the Yazidi community here.
Yeah, brave individuals. Their story is something that most people probably need to get more in tune with.
That's right. Now Sheldon has an exhibit also about the Prague Spring. This is a major international event to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the Prague Spring. They're going to have some speakers April 3rd through the 7th to talk about a little more history over in Europe.
The after effects of the Soviet-ordered Warsaw Pact invasion of Czechoslovakia in 1968. The speakers themselves are going to focus on 20 years of normalization of the culture, right? And everything that's happened from the Iron Curtain to what they called the Velvet Revolution. So well put together, Sheldon Museum of Art. The event is free for the public, so stop on out for another great historical event.
That's right, art and history.
Oh.
Art's a great way to tell
good
stories.
Stuff, yes.
So, also, we want to mention at the Love Library, if you're a fan of cartoons, Will Eisner they have a retrospective exhibit. He helped develop the American comic book industry.
Yeah, from 1917 to 2005, the exhibition itself contains 43 large pieces selected from landmark parallel exhibitions held at the National Comics Museum of France and at the Society of Illustrators in New York City. And this is a celebration of that 100th anniversary.
Okay. Have you ever driven down O Street, right by the Antelope Valley Bridge, and you've seen the beautiful mural on that building?
And wondered what it was.
What is that? It's Karen Kuntz's studio, Constellation Studios.
It's an amazing place.
And she's a printmaker, and she has printmaker Rachel Toner from Philadelphia, Lauren Kusro from Houston, and they're going to do an exhibit there. It's a chance for you to see what's inside that building. So.
And these emerging artists are a new force that has exploded into the print form and media, and questions of how and where printing can happen will be told through this exhibition. And I know a lot of people have noticed that building. I mean, I remember the first time I saw it.
You can't miss it.
Because it's more than what you would call graffiti, right? Because you look at the side of a building and go, all right, that was somebody's canvas. This was somebody's canvas, and it's an amazing collection inside.
All right, we're going to talk a lot about theater now, and we're going to start with Losing the Ring in the River. This is an Angels Theater Company production, and it was written by Bridget Amos. of Lincoln. She's a member of the Angels Playwriting Collective. She's had several plays produced. Bridget's a friend of mine, so I'm happy to see her piece being performed at the Lead. 3 generations of women, 3 generations of secrets. Can the bonds of a family withstand the truth?
Ooh.
Yeah,
Wow,
it's going to
chills.
be good. It's going to be good.
This does sound like a good time.
Angels have had a couple readings about this to help, Bridget put it in the final form. So this is going to be a really cool
Good.
event
Looking
at
forward
the
to
Lead
it.
Center. And then we've got Nebraska Repertory Theater has not 1, not 2, but 3 events coming up. We talked a little bit about Avenue Q last time. It's a puppet show for adults.
A laugh out loud time about a college grad named Princeton who arrives in the city with big dreams and a tiny bank account. Avenue Q contains adult content and themes, so they're saying it's not appropriate or may not be appropriate for young children.
That's right. The Rep is also doing a Rising Stars showcase to kind of highlight some of the talent in the department there.
That's right. Actors, singers, directors, and designers at the Rep's first annual Rising Stars Student Showcase will be on display. The evening will feature a very best student work of the year from the Johnny Carson School of Theater and Film.
And then William Golding's Lord of the Flies opens in mid-April, and this is a production that's what most of us are familiar with the story. This one is going to integrate percussion, ritual, and fire.
Sounds like my alarm clock in the morning.
That's what it takes to get you up.
Sometimes that's what it takes. When a school group survives a catastrophic plane crash, what starts as an island adventure and a violent struggle for survival becomes a story, Lord of the Flies.
All right. Do you remember the mid-'90s when everyone was reading The Bridges of Madison County?
I do.
Yes. It later became a movie, and now it's a theater production at Wesleyan.
That's right. You can never claim both ends of the bridge. You cross or you don't. On one side of the covered bridge in Iowa stands Francesca's family. On the other, her heart.
Robert James Waller was the author of that book. He passed away last year. So yeah, it was a big deal in the 90s.
Well, and it's a big tourism attraction in the state of Iowa as well. If you're on
That's
the
right,
interstate,
those
you see
covered
bridges
bridges.
of Madison County, and a lot of people make that a stop.
Yep. Wesleyan is also going to do a production called She Kills Monsters. My niece was in this production in Oklahoma, and
Ooh.
she had to practice. She had to learn martial arts and get in really good shape. It's a very physical production.
If you know Dungeons and Dragons, it's a lot of this is folded into this, and it dives headfirst into a certain girl's work and her imagination.
Yeah, interesting show. And on a totally another note,
turn.
Gilligans Island. Just
Yes.
sit right back.
That's right. Sit right back and you'll hear a tale, right? Skipper Gilligan and the entire cast will be on display at the Tada Theater. Should be a lot of fun. Of course, this is Bob Brooks' interpretation as well as his group of Gilligan's Island, and you know it's going to be a good time.
Well, they've done this one before,
Yes.
and it was great.
Hysterical.
And this is, as he says, this is one episode you won't see on TV.
That's exactly it.
All right, we're going to wrap up with music today. Capital Jazz is, once again, we want to remind people they have a new venue at Blue Blood, and we are going to do our show from Robbers Cave at some point.
Soon.
This
I think
year.
we should get over there really soon.
Yes, I
right?
do.
Maybe a late afternoon taping. And
Yeah.
we
And then just kind of
hang
hang
out.
out.
I like it.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of fun going on with Capital Jazz Society. Great bands, great music, jazz combos, instrumentalists, and a lot of fun going on with Capital Jazz Society.
All right, Nebraska Brass is continuing its 30th anniversary season. Swing is in the air.
Oh, is that a twist on Spring is in the
I
air?
believe it is.
I believe it is.
They're
I
much
can't
more,
wait.
They're much more clever than
Yeah,
us.
can't wait for spring. This will take place at Vine Congregational Church, 3 p.m. Sunday, March 25th.
Right, Aubin Music is presenting Pieta. I hope I said that right.
It sounded good.
It's Italian.
Aye.
Featuring Wesleyan University Choir, the Plymouth Choir, and guest conductor Antone Armstrong. He is the conductor of the world-renowned St. Olaf Choir in Minnesota.
A story of love, compassion, and mercy, and the human experience that goes along with that. This will be at First Plymouth Church. Great venue for musical performances.
All right, we have musical history coming up at the Johnny Carson Theater. Lincoln Friends of Chamber Music are going to do a production. It's a program of music by European composers who were displaced by the rise of Nazism and fascism and relocated in the U.S. and elsewhere.
Yeah, this is going to be an amazing production. Johnny Carson Theater.
All right, and finally, Lincoln Symphony Orchestra. They are continuing their quest It's a 5-year journey to perform all 9 of Beethoven's symphonies.
And this is leading up to their 250th birthday in 2020, or Beethoven's birthday. So this is a big
right.
step. Lincoln Symphony Orchestra joins LSO in a side-by-side performance of the overture to Beethoven's opera, Beethoven Symphony No. 8, as well as the what they call the Symphony No. 6. So
Big
a lot
fan
of
of
great
Beethoven.
music wrapped up into one production.
That's right. Wow, there's a lot going on, as
Always,
usual.
always.
And you're on top of it all.
We try to do our very best to give people things to do in our community. And I'll tell you, I want to direct people to our visitor center, 7th and P. Stop and see Abraham Lincoln. Give us a call at 434-5335. And we've also got another location just up the street here, 1128 Lincoln Mall, just a stone's throw from the Capitol. So people have tourism questions, groups in town, make sure and give us a call, because we love talking to people about everything going on in Lincoln.
All right, thank you, Jeff. And as we go to break, we're going to take a look at some of the things coming up at the Leeds Center for Performing Arts. And then Tom Lorenz will join us. We've got some more announcements coming up about what's at Pinnacle Bank Arena and Pinewood Bowl. Stay with us. Welcome back to Out and About. Tom Lorenz joins us now from Pinnacle Bank Arena and Pinewood Bowl. And finally, Metallica's coming.
We got Metallica. It is so exciting to see them be able to come to Pinnacle Bank Arena. They've done a big outdoor tour last year, and now they're starting their arena tour. And so there's 19 shows in that first bunch of arena tours, and we're one of them. And it's just going to be the biggest thing. We've been working on this for a long time. It's great to have them coming in. I know it's going to sell out, but that's probably one of the most requested concerts that we get was Metallica, and it is so fun to be able to bring them here.
That's wonderful. All right, well, let's run down the rest of the lineup at Pinnacle Bank Arena. We've got Pink, the big Pink concert, March 6th.
Right. Pink, this is her return, and the first show is still, I think, one of the most talked about shows that we've had. It's a blend between great musicianship, athleticism, the visual display of the concert. It's again one of those things that is iconic for our building, and Pink comes back March 6th, and it's a sellout.
All right. Lorde is coming up March 24th. Are there tickets still available for that?
There's still some tickets available for Lorde. That'll be a very, very good show. What a real talent there. And they're coming in with Run the Jewels. Run the Jewels played over in Omaha recently at the Maha Festival. And so it's a great lineup. There are tickets available, and it's going to be, kind of focusing on some really great female singers this month.
All right. And then we go into April, and we've got a couple of big events with Monster Jam, the Triple Threat Series.
Monster Jam continues to get bigger every year, and we get more and more fans all the time. They're amazing machines and amazing drivers. To see them, to see 8 big trucks out on the main floor. They're crushing cars, they're racing each other, they're going over these huge mounds and jumping in the air. It's really something to see, and we've added a couple other things this year. We've got some quad runner races, and we have some utility vehicle races out there. It will be constant action and fun for the whole family. It's not just for kids, it's not just for adults. We see dates come. It's just a fun thing, and it's something that you're not likely to see, and this is what you're going to see in the back. It's not. You hope it doesn't happen in your backyard, let's put it that way.
Boy, Dynasty Combat Sports is back with their spring brawl also in April.
There's some great fighters in the area, and train, and the guys bring those over. Spring Brawl is a lot of fun. It's a long event. It probably has 15 or so bouts, come on in for the evening and see some really good MMA action.
All right, we're going to wind up April with Brad Paisley. Is he returning as well?
He has played at Pershing, but he has not
okay.
played at Pinnacle before. So Brad Paisley, just the ultimate country singer, writes tremendous songs. He's really one of those guys that really defines country music, and he's such a wonderful person. The songs are meaningful and touch people. And he's a great guitarist, and you see him every year at the CMAs, and so it's great to have Brad coming back to Pinnacle Bank Arena.
All right. In May, we start looking at shows both at Pinnacle Bank Arena and Pinewood. We'll talk about Pinewood a little later, but Chris Young is going to be at the arena on May 12th.
So we kind of have the two ends. We have Brad Paisley, the long-established country singer, and now we've got Chris Young, who is the new guy coming up, and Chris's tour has just blown up. He was a club act here not that long ago, and now he's playing arenas. This one is selling very, very well across the country. This is really his coming out party to be the next country superstar. So it's a great time to see him. There's some really good opening acts on this one. It's exciting to see that next generation of acts coming through Lincoln.
All right. Cirque du Soleil is coming back for 6 performances mid-May.
Yep, and Corteo, it's a wonderful story about, it's kind of through a clown's eyes, and he looks at the circus, and it talks a little bit about his mortality, and he looks at those things. But anything Cirque does is so beautiful. If people came to the last one or heard about the last one we had a couple years ago, this is just a beautiful show. Tremendous athleticism there, great art, and it's a wonderful thing for the family to come by and see. And there's 6 great performances. So sight lines are terrific for each person, and we hope a lot of folks come by and check that out.
All right, country is back in June with, I know they're one of your favorites, Zac Brown Band.
I love Zac Brown. You know, Zac Brown and Jimmy Buffett and Kenny Chesney, all those guys have kind of embraced that fun party beach type of thing. And Zac and his crew, not only do they produce tremendous music, but they cook. And they have,
they really cook.
They really do. I mean, these guys are chefs, and so there's a lot of things to do. They're going to be in here for a couple days. We'll have some rehearsal with them. It's really going to be a fun thing. Zac Brown, great act. Their return act it was sold out last time. They're coming back again.
And another great rock show, July 19th with Journey and Def Leppard. I bet this one's selling pretty good.
This one is, and you've got 2 headliners that came in and played individually, Def Leppard and Journey, and now they put the 2 together, and hopefully this is a 1 + 1 = 3 type of an act. They'll come in, you'll get all of your favorite rock songs from the era. Both of those bands, they can play 100-minute sets and just play nothing but hits. So this would be a great night in the middle of July.
All right, Fall Out Boy then October 5th. I don't know a whole lot about this.
This was my daughter's in her 20s, and this was one of her favorite bands as she grew up.
Okay.
And they've been around for a long, long time. A lot of their fans know they've got a really big catalog. They'd been a little bit quiet for a couple years, and they're coming back. The tour is selling very well. Strong show. It'll be a lot of fun. You'll hear some great music from the 90s, and these guys are good musicians. They started out in Chicago and have just taken the world by storm.
All right, let's go out to Pinewood, where your season is really starting to shape up. A lot of recent announcements about what's coming out there. Of course, we're going to start with the Impractical Jokers on May 18th.
The Tenderloins, it's that True TV Impractical Jokers show, and it's very, very popular. And as soon as we announced this show, ticket sales went right through the roof. It'll be so much fun to have the guys out there. Great setting for them. They do a really fun stage show. Obviously, it's going to interact with the audience. And it is a great way, May 18th, to start off the season.
All right. Then something a little different. You're going to have a Bluegrass Festival on May 20th, and you've never had this kind of a festival.
We
out there
haven't.
before.
This is a little bit something different. It'll go from about 3 o'clock in the afternoon till about 9 o'clock at night. We're doing it kind of in conjunction with the Bourbon. There'll be some pre-shows the night before. There'll be some shows after the Pinewood show. So we've got 3 really great bluegrass acts lined up. It'll be a fun day. We'll have some other activities going on out there. We'll have food. We'll have other music. We'll have great beverages, and it's just in that early early summer. It'll be a nice time for folks to come out, a great way to spend the Sunday and hear some amazing music.
All right. Comedy is back June 1st with I Mom So Hard. This is their Omaha connections on this one, right?
Yeah, it's two moms who kind of got together, put together a website and blogging, and they talk about things that moms talk about, and it has really grown. They have a huge following, and the fact that they have a Nebraska connection. When we're filming this, we're just putting this on public on sale here. It is selling very, very well. So when this first airs, hurry and get tickets because they won't last long. It's a lot of fun to do these kind of things, and the Pinewood Bowl setting will be a really great night for moms to hang out and friends, and to make this a really cool evening for people.
All right, some more music then on June 18th with Primus and Mastodon.
A couple of seminal kind of indie bands that will be out there. Mastodon won a Grammy this year. Primus is a long-time, really good band. You're going to hear some pretty hard rock, and you'll hear a lot of indie type music, and they'll cover a lot of genres, but these guys have all been doing it for a long time. Great following, and again, that Pinewood setting for this will be the perfect way to have a great evening out in June.
Okay, one of the legends, Jackson Browne, is coming June 22nd. I have my tickets.
You and I both grew up with Jackson Browne, heard great songs from him all along. He is still one of the best writers. One of my favorites from a long time, and we're just honored to have Jackson Browne here. It will be a memorable night out at the Bowl.
Steve Miller Band and Peter Frampton, two more legends together on August 2nd.
Every song that we had was we kind of listened in those 70s and 80s, had guitar solos, and these are two of the best. Peter Frampton Comes Alive, that great summer when that came out, still can play in the back of your head. And Steve Miller Band with all the great songs they have. Put the two together, and it's, again, two superstars. We've got a couple of those this summer, and this one is selling very well also.
All right, the last show that's been announced so far is August 30th, Jason Moretz.
And Jason, a great 90s, kind of a pop, kind of a folk singer. We've gotten a lot of really positive reaction to this. I mean, people are just excited to see him come out. And he's been quiet for a couple years, coming back, new material, play a lot of his old material. One of those evenings at the Bowl, I keep picturing it, and when you're standing out there with the great trees, a moon coming up, a nice breeze. I love it. It's a fun summer, and we've got more to come.
And I've been out there a couple times when there's been a nice little rain, and it's just a great setting.
Yep.
Yeah, it's really beautiful. We should mention too that Tom is sporting a new tan. You actually got some time off to go on a real vacation. Congratulations!
My wife and I got away, and we got into southern Florida and had some really nice days. And it really made me feel bad to see that you were having ice and snow and rain up here while we were having good weather. So thank you.
Well, you left things in the hands of your capable
We have
staff,
a great staff.
and
They do a terrific
you talk
job.
about them all the time and how great they are. So
They do. I'm comfortable, very comfortable leaving, but it's always nice to get home too.
all right, thank you so much, Tom. The places you want to go to find out more about what's going on at the arena and Pinewood Bowl, pinnaclebankarena.com and pinewoodbowltheater.com. More announcements to come for both.
There will be more coming up.
They seem to come in groups of 3 or 4
They
lately.
tend to. It's always tough to manage the on sales. It takes a while to get all those things lined up, and they all want to go national on sales the same day, but it really builds some excitement too. We had 3 Pinewood shows announced in one day, and that was a fun day.
Yeah, my email just kept coming. So thank you so much, Tom,
Thanks,
to you
Diane.
and your staff for all
And thank
that
you,
do.
Lincoln, for supporting all this stuff. It makes our job very easy.
All right. That is all for this month's Out and About show. I want to thank all the guests that we had for today. Now, if you missed any of the events, stay tuned. We'll be running a list right after this show. Thank you for joining us. We hope to see you out and about.